It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant pride.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Friday's edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. We are coming to you from the Giants Podcast Studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. I'm Paul Dottino. He's Matt Citak. Our numbers, 201-939-4513. If you'd like to give us a call, we're here to talk Giants football for the next hour as they prepare for Sunday's home game against the Los Angeles Chargers. And by the way, it is a 1 o'clock kickoff. This is another weird one, Matt, where we've got a non-time zone team coming to the Meadowlands and kicking off at 1. You remember earlier this year that happened, and apparently, you know, it's going to happen again. Well, Kansas City was a night game. That was a night game.
Yep.
Dallas, we went there, and they made it a 1 o'clock game. So this is kind of funky the way this is working out.
Yeah, and I mean, for the Chargers, they're flying all the way across the country.
They sure are.
On a 3-hour difference in time zone. That's not easy for any team to do, flying across the country and having to play with such a big time difference. So, yeah, I mean, in that sense, I would say it gives the Giants a little bit of a home field advantage.
You would hope so.
Just in that sense alone. Obviously, the Chargers are 3-0, coming
Yes.
off of 3 really good wins and are an amazing team with, you know, a quarterback playing at an MVP level, a defense that's playing like a top unit across the league.
Indeed.
So in that sense, it's going to be a very tough challenge for the Giants on Sunday.
As always, you can catch this show if you're not catching us live as part of the Giants archive, part of the Giants podcast platforms everywhere and at giants.com/podcasts. We get that out of the way. We also get the following injury report from head coach Brian Daboll right up top. Nacho, we figured that Tracy and Gano, we already knew that they were not going to be available this week. But Nacho and Golston not working today. That's due to their ailments. Aaron Stinney, him and his wife had a baby boy. So he's also not working today, obviously excused. He has a good reason. Okay. Yes. So that's the case in terms of the injuries. Also, Andrew Thomas, according to Brian Daboll, will play more snaps this week than the 28 he played against Kansas City. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to play the whole game. It simply means he's going to play more than 28 snaps.
Yes, Coach Daboll said that throughout the week in practice that Andrew Thomas has been taking more reps and that he is expected to take a bigger workload come Sunday. Now, obviously, we found out after the game last week that the plan was for Andrew to play about 25 snaps. He ended up playing 28 offensive snaps. That was almost the entire first half. It was just that very last drive within the last 2 minutes of the second quarter that Marcus Bowe came in for Thomas, and then Bowe played the rest of the game. So, yeah, we don't know exactly what a bigger workload will mean for Andrew Thomas. Hopefully it's most of the game, if not all. We don't know. I'm
going to take a wild guess here because I certainly am not privy to any of the medical conversations that the trainers will have. If he played 28 last week and came through it okay, I'd say he plays at least 50, but I don't know if he'll play the whole game yet because they're still trying to ramp him up. Remember, he's been limited this week. He hasn't taken all the snaps in practice either.
Sure.
I'm going to say 50-ish.
So I have a question for you then. Let's say 50 is the number. Obviously, this is us hypothetically speaking,
right.
But if it is the number.
Folks, again, this is totally hypothetical. We have absolutely no medical information as to what they've talked about with the coach.
Yes. So let's say that number is accurate. It is 50. Would you have him do kind of what the Giants did last week, which is have him start and just play the first 50 snaps? Or if the plan is for him to play 50, maybe put him out for the first, quarter, then have him sit a little bit, and then save him for the whole second half, something like that? What would you do?
I would probably play him from the get-go, see how many snaps he gets by the time halftime rolls around. Mm-hmm. If for some reason the Giants control the ball a ton in the first half, and by the way, I don't think that'll happen, but if they did, right, and let's just say for argument's sake he had 40 snaps in the first half,
Yep.
They go into the locker room. I would then reassess with the trainers and say, look, he's had time off to cool down. I know we said whatever the number was, X. He doesn't have too many left. Do you want us to go out there in the third quarter and put him out there and finish off those snaps, or would you rather we just leave it at halftime? I would confer with them again. I would reconfer, in other words.
Yeah.
Depending upon how much of his snap count he used up in the first half. And then I would let them make the call because the medical people always get the call here.
No, of course. But I'm saying in this hypothetical situation, if the medical staff basically says it's 50 snaps, it doesn't matter when he takes it.
Oh, no,
if it's in a
he
row.
starts and plays as long as he can through the first half. And then
So
reevaluate.
you wouldn't.
I would not ration them.
You would. So what I was thinking was maybe, I agree with you, play him the whole first half.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think the Giants are going to, completely dominate the time of possession where he's playing, 40, 50 snaps in the first half alone.
I think that's highly unlikely.
Yeah. But let's say he does play the whole first half. I would at least consider, if the game is close, like if the Giants are in it, if the Giants are winning somehow, or if it's a very close game, maybe have Marcus Bowe start the second half,
right?
Just to save Andrew for those potentially key fourth quarter snaps. Although the flip side is, if you take him out, that obviously gives the Chargers a little bit of an advantage because you're taking out the best offensive lineman. And by the time he would be, you hypothetically would be putting him back in, the game might not be quite as close anymore.
So your point is you would seriously consider splitting his reps, is what you're saying.
I would just, if you could tell me, which obviously I know no one can do, but if you could guarantee me that it'll be a one possession game in the fourth quarter, I would say I want Andrew Thomas for every single snap in the fourth quarter. Obviously, there are no guarantees.
Understood.
Like that. So in an ideal world, I would like to have Andrew Thomas playing in the fourth quarter in a close game. Mm-hmm. But again, you do that, it may not be a close game in the fourth quarter, in which case, would you put him back out there if all of a sudden the Giants are down 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter?
That wouldn't make much sense, I don't think.
So I guess it's going to be a kind of a feel thing. But I definitely agree, put him out there for the whole first half, and then I guess see how the game is going.
All right, so that's where we stand right now in terms of the Giants' injury situation. Chargers still have some injuries to work through. They've got several guys like the Giants who have been some limitations in practice, but we don't have an update from them because they are on the West Coast, and certainly we need to know what those guys are going to do this afternoon. But of significance, Bradley Bozeman has a bad back. He's their starting center.
Although he did return to practice
He was limited yesterday, but
did not participate Wednesday and
correct.
Then upgraded to limited.
He goes up against Dexter Lawrence, so that's always going to be a big matchup, especially if Dexter is going to start playing like Dexter Lawrence can. If he raises his level in this game to what we are accustomed to seeing, where he's an all-pro, that could be a very important matchup because a guy with a sore back against Dexter Lawrence is not a good matchup for the Chargers.
No.
Okay, so I point that one out. Mekhi Becton, their starting right guard, is got concussion.
Now that is one. Today's injury report will be crucial.
Very important.
If he doesn't participate in practice again today, with them having to fly across country tomorrow, I would say it's very unlikely he ends up playing.
Jamari Sawyer is the backup, and if you watched any of the video of the game last week, he got bull rushed and put on his keister rather quickly. I would not be very happy if I were Justin Herbert.
That's right guard, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because then the other offensive lineman I'm sure you're about to talk about next, the right tackle.
Trey Pipkins.
Yes.
He himself has a knee. And quite honestly, he does struggle with speed rushers, especially off the edge.
So I believe that knee injury occurred during last week's game against the Broncos. Mm-hmm. So he, I believe, was able to finish the game, but sort of was kind of in and out of the lineup. I looked at Next Gen Stats earlier this morning. Trey Pipkins ended up surrendering 11 total pressures at right tackle, and that's with him not playing every single snap. He gave up 11 pressures. He had a nearly 25% quarterback pressure rate allowed, which is quite high for an offensive lineman that is out there for a majority of the snaps. And especially when you consider that over on the left side, they have one of, if the best left tackles in the NFL already with Joe Alt. And, I mean, that's my matchup to watch, Joe Alt versus Brian Burns. That is going to be very entertaining. And I would think that they would probably leave, despite how talented Brian Burns is, I think they'll probably leave Joe Alt on an island there and say, just take care of their best pass rusher one-on-one, because we need to send some help over to the other side. But this is, I feel like, for me, like the biggest player to watch on the defensive side of the ball this week for the Giants is going to be Kayvon Thibodeau, because he's going to really have a good opportunity to take advantage of that matchup against Trey Pipkins, or if Pipkins is unable to go, whoever, I don't even know who the backup is, because Trey Pipkins is already the backup tackle. They already lost Rashawn Slater, which forced Joe Alt to the left side and Trey Pipkins into the starting lineup. It sounds like Pipkins will play because he was a full participant in yesterday's practice, so obviously I assume that means he's going to be good to go, but I don't know if that's that much of an advantage for the Chargers, because, again, 11 pressures against the Broncos last week. That's an opportunity for Kayvon Thibodeau to really add to his strong start already to the season.
See, now imagine how dangerous the Chargers would be if Rashawn Slater had not torn his patellar tendon and been out for the year. Slater's their starting left tackle. Alt is their starting right tackle. Slater gets hurt, goes to IR for the season. Alt has to flop to the other side. Both he, Slater, and Zion Johnson, their left guard, who, by the way, was very highly thought of when he came out as a first-round draft pick, they have dominated the left side of the line. But could you imagine if they had had Slater on the left and Alt on the right this season with the experience that they've added over the last 2 years?
Yeah, I mean,
it would be impossible to get to Herbert.
As talented as I and we are talking about Joe Alt being, Rashawn Slater, when healthy, is even better.
Yes.
So
yes, he is better.
Yeah, so that would have been a not fun tackle combo to try to go up against.
So anyway, the point is, attack the living heck out of the center and the right side of the offensive line, because that's why Justin Herbert's been sacked 10 times this year. 4 of the 10 sacks were on him for holding the ball too long. I studied each one of those sacks earlier this morning, and I have looked at them. Without a doubt, okay, Herbert wants to get the ball out quick. Most of their game plans and their playbooks have gotten the ball out quick. But when they want to go long, or when they're forced into a third down and long package, he's got to hold the ball longer because the receivers take longer to get those routes to develop. Those are the problems. That's when Herbert runs into issues, because his O-line does not hold up. His propensity to hold the ball and wait for those guys to get open has caused 4 of the 10 sacks. So if you're the Giants, what do you have to do? It's quite obvious for the Giants to win this game, and I know they've got to do other things also, but if it starts with Justin Herbert and this defense getting to where it's supposed to be, they must dominate on the first 2 downs, because you want to force him into having to look longer on third down passing opportunities, because that's when the weakness of the Chargers will show up. Whether it's the line breaking down, I saw a sack where the fullback flat out whiffed. That was Matlock. I saw one of those. I saw another one where there was a safety, a slot corner blitz, and the line had absolutely no idea what was going on. Running back went one way. The line didn't even bother to look at the blitzer, and he came in clean. And Herbert had no chance. So you want to put them in those situations where they are the most uncomfortable, because between Johnston, McConkey, and Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert has guys to throw to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought up those wide receivers, because I feel like the way that they have played the first 3 weeks, the Chargers have the top wide receiver trio in the NFL right now, because Keenan Allen is just old Mr. Reliable for Justin Herbert. They just brought him back after he spent a year in Chicago.
Yep.
And what has he done? Just picked up right where he left off. 19 receptions, almost 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. You have Ladd McConkey, who was the, I believe, 34th pick in last year's draft, who really came on at the end of last season. He's been the worst of the three, and he has still been very solid. And you have Quentin Johnston, who's had drop problems throughout his entire career, a former first-round pick.
Big play threat.
Seems like he's figured it out because he has a team-leading 239 yards on only 14 receptions. He's their deep threat. And the connection between Johnston and Herbert has been on full display these first 3 weeks. They have 3 touchdowns between the two of them. They are a very, very talented trio of wide receivers. And you mentioned winning on early downs. The Chargers did lose running back Najee Harris last week to a season-ending Achilles injury.
Yep.
That has paved the way for what I believe will be Omarion Hampton, their rookie first-round pick, to just become the bell cow. And he is an extremely talented running back. He had a little bit of a slow start the first 2 weeks, but when he came on last week, after Najee Harris's injury, he pretty much played most of the snaps after that. He showed exactly what he could do. He had a breakout game, 70 yards on the ground, another 59 yards receiving, touchdown. He is extremely talented. So it's not going to be easy to win on those early downs going up against Omarion Hampton. And again, I said this before, but Justin Herbert is just playing like a top quarterback in the NFL right now. Like if you had to end the MVP race after just 3 games, he would be certainly in the conversation right now with the way he's playing. He leads the NFL.
Oh, I give it to him.
Well, after last night's game, I don't think he no longer leads the NFL, but through 3 games, he led the NFL in passing yards, 6-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, and he's also been running the ball a little bit more than we've seen in years past. I mean, he's second on the team, 69 yards on the ground. So this is a very, very talented Chargers offense that I think everyone came into the season thinking, oh, Greg Roman, Jim Harbaugh, they're just going to pound the ball on the ground. They've been extremely pass heavy. They've let Justin Herbert sling it, and they've had very positive results. So obviously I think they will rely on the run game. They want to get Omarion Hampton going, but Justin Herbert is going to be slinging it around the field again to those three wide receivers. And we didn't even touch on the rookie tight end that just had a bit of a, I don't want to call it a breakout, but a little bit of a coming out party this last week. Gatson, the first time he really got on the field, 5 catches for 46 yards, 7 targets.
Out of Syracuse,
local. So they have just pass catchers all over the offense. And again, Omarion Hampton can catch the ball out of the backfield. This is not going to be an easy matchup for the Giants defense.
See, the reason that Harbaugh isn't big and run heavy is because of Harris's injury. See, they wanted Hampton to be 1A to Najee Harris's 1. Harris goes down, and now they have to elevate Hampton into more than they wanted to this early in the year. That was not the plan. All right, I just got done talking to their play-by-play guy, Money Smith. And they've had to push Hampton now and accelerate his role in the offense to much more than they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of a sticky situation for them because obviously teams know that they can come after half of that offensive line with blitz packages. Hampton's not used to picking up blitzes.
No.
Is that what he did in college?
That has probably been the biggest area he has struggled in so far this season, which is not surprising for a rookie running back.
No.
Not named Cam Scadaboo, I should say.
So yeah, really. so there are some bruises on this offense. They've averaged 23 points a game through 3 weeks. They're not an unstoppable locomotive, and there are ways the Giants can attack them that could potentially short-circuit them a little bit. But I do want to simply touch on the defense for a minute before we get to the calls. We got a full bank. This defense, Perriman is out with an injury. Khalil Mack is out with an injury, and yet in all the key defensive categories, they're top 10, if not higher, in the league. They are playing sound football. They hit you. They don't miss tackles. They play their positions extremely well. They are going to play a ton of deep zone. They are not going to give up big plays, and they are not going to have mental errors that are going to allow you to hit them on a busted play. They're disciplined. They're physical. It's going to be hard for the Giants to score a lot of points this week, despite the enthusiasm over Jackson Dart's first ever NFL start. this defense they've only given up 17 points a game, 4th best in the NFL.
Yeah, look, there's a reason why Jim Harbaugh brought Jesse Minter from Michigan with him to the Chargers. 'Cause he's had that defense rolling since he got there. They've had a lot of success. They come into this game, they've only allowed 2 passing touchdowns, and they have played Patrick Mahomes, Geno Smith, and Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, obviously one of the best quarterbacks. The other two, Geno solid, Bo Nix up and coming. Like, they're not slouches is my point. And 2 total passing touchdowns. The one thing I will say is when you look at it, because I see we have a YouTube comment asking about the Chargers' run defense. When you look at their overall numbers, you see that they've only given up 284 rushing yards, which is the 8th lowest in the league. You think, oh, wow, they must have, a top elite rush defense. It's a little bit misleading. They've just jumped out to leads in the first 3 games where the other teams have sort of had to abandon the run game.
Yeah.
You look at their average yards per attempt allowed, that's all the way up at 5.0, which is 26th in the NFL. So this is a defense that you can find some success running the ball on as long as you don't.
They're short at linebacker. That's why.
100%. As long as you don't get behind big early, because then obviously you're not going to be able to run the ball as much as you want. No. And that's why the Chargers' rush numbers look like how they do. So
in other words, do not get into a scoreboard competition against them. You get into a track meet, you'll lose.
Yeah, especially with Justin Herbert playing the way he's playing. Yeah, you can't do that.
All right, let's get an update quickly, Matt, if you have it, or Pearson, if you have it, on the Giants Huddle podcast, which is currently available on Giants.com and all of your favorite podcast platforms. Guys?
Pearson?
Todd Haley went up yesterday, former NFL head coach and coach around the league, just talking about getting a rookie QB ready to start because he was in Cleveland when Baker Mayfield made his first start. So
and Mayfield, by the way, is one who is often used as the comparison for Jackson Dart.
Yeah, at least personality-wise, for sure.
And just after the show, I'll be posting the full Chargers preview, sit down with Brian Dable, your interview with Matt Smith, and we got Darius Slayton on there too.
Cool.
Yep.
And also this is not a video or on the podcast network, but I would just highly recommend Dan Salomon, our senior writer on Giants.com, did his weekly interview with Coach Dable, his weekly one-on-one, just Dan and Coach sitting in a room together. It's posted up on Giants.com. He gave a lot of insight into Jackson and what sort of like this week has been like for both him and Jackson. We do this every week, but this week especially, given the major storyline in this building, highly recommend everyone giving that a read.
Folks, remember the Giants Foundation is going to host a 5K Racing Kids Run presented by Quest on Sunday, October 28th at 9 a.m. at MetLife Stadium. Net proceeds will benefit the Giants Foundation. All participants will receive a commemorative T-shirt after the race. Stay for a post-race festival and appearances by Giants legends and a live DJ. Register now at Giants.com/5K. The Giants Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. Don't forget, there's also the Ultimate New York Giants Women's Tailgate presented by Joe Malone. That is a ticketed event. You got to be 21 or over. It takes place coming up this Sunday, September 28th, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. in Lot G, ahead of the game against the Chargers. Madeline will be there. Giants legends will be there. There will also be exclusive Kendra Scott activations available, tailgate games, giveaways, photo ops, DJ entertainment, food and drink included with the ticket purchase. Once again, that is this Sunday prior to the Chargers game. Giants season tickets are still available. This is only the second home game of the season, so there are still plenty more left on the Strip. If you are interested, you get exclusive member benefits as well as things that can happen all year round. Visit Giants.com/tickets and stay connected to the team all year round. Giants TV is also the official free connected streaming app. It brings original video content, game highlights, and all kinds of stuff on demand. It's free on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and the Giants mobile app.
Real quick before we get to the calls, just because we have one YouTube comment here that Pearson wrote down. Since Jackson is starting, will Brian Dable be the play caller? No, he's already said Mike Kafka is the play caller.
Correct.
And he has a ton of confidence in him. One other comment I saw in the YouTube chat, practice squad elevations always take place Saturday at 4 p.m.
Correct.
For a Sunday game. If it's a Thursday or a Monday game, then it's 4 p.m. on those days. But for Sunday, 1 o'clock game, practice squad elevations will be announced tomorrow, late afternoon. And they asked specifically, will Turbo Miller be elevated to fill in for Tracy? I would say there's a decent chance, considering the running back depth.
I would expect Turbo Miller to be elevated and be the kickoff return guy as Singletary then moves into the number 2 spot behind Scatterboo in the running back room.
And that's something I feel like you and I have been excited to see for a long time now. Dante in the kick return
It gets
role.
lost in the headline about the QB, but Dante Miller, I can't wait to see the ball in his hands.
Me too.
I would anticipate that would be a move that they would make, and I think on kickoff return he could be really dynamic.
Yeah.
And the other move is probably going to be, I don't think they're going to sign a kicker to the 53. I think they'll use a practice squad activation, and because you get 3 of those per player between Young-Ho Koo, the former Atlanta Falcon, who just came in a couple of days ago, Ridgewood, New Jersey product, of course, originally from South Korea. 8 years with the Atlanta Falcons. Originally came up in 2017 out of Georgia Southern as an undrafted rookie free agent with, guess what, the Chargers, believe it or not.
There you go.
Did make 1 Pro Bowl with the Falcons. The last year or two, he's been somewhat inconsistent. And the Falcons lost patience with him a couple of weeks back, and they cut him. Giants signed him to the practice squad, and coach said that McAtamney, the second-year player out of Rutgers, who's also on the practice squad, would compete with him right up until Saturday, I'm sure, till 4 o'clock Saturday, when they decide which kicker they will elevate. But I think it'll be a practice squad activation. I don't think they're going to bring anyone up to the 53 because they did not make a move with Gano. They didn't put him on IR yet.
No, not yet. It still could happen.
It could happen.
If it were to happen, it probably would be announced in those moves tomorrow. We don't know if it will, but also just as we're talking about these Saturday moves and the roster numbers, just a heads up that the Giants do have an extra spot on the roster available right now, just due to some of the different moves that have been made over the last week. Because they signed Tomon Fox to the active roster, he got waived, then signed back to the practice squad. So right now the Giants roster is at 52, so there is an extra spot. So I'm assuming come tomorrow that number will be back up to 53, but just something to keep an eye on.
Yep, you would think. All right, 201-939-4513. Big Ed in Maryland is first up on the show. Good morning.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Good.
Okay,
How are
Big
you,
Ed?
Big Ed?
I'm okay, guys. I'm all right. Big Matt, Big Paulie. Hey. Oh.
It's the Friday vibes right there.
Look, Big Ed, let me tell you, I certainly could have used you on Sunday.
I'm not mad. First 3 games of the season, fellas. This is what we play the game for. We don't know until they get out there and show what's going to happen, right?
Well, sloppy September. We've talked about it many times.
That's right. So, look, here's what I got in mind. First of all, from what y'all was just talking about with, I'm going to call them with their old name, the San Diego Superchargers, right? One of the greatest theme songs of the NFL.
Yes, it was cool.
Yeah. See, we old school. We know about this 20th century stuff. But, I feel like, Paulie, from what we've seen from them and us, attacking these ends by not having their starting tackles is a big plus. Just as long as Burns and Thibodeau can stay, attacking. And then we're not going to sleep on Andre Carter because he's still getting to his peak yet. He doesn't have hit it yet, but it's coming. And like what you said, if Dex can get off and do some stuff and disrupt that line, we got a really good chance of looking good on defense. But I'm a little disappointed in my boy Deonte Banks. He has got to keep his head up.
Yep.
Now, he's playing better.
He has been better.
Right. But, hey, man, he got to get it together because, you're a number 1 pick. You're supposed to be playing top-notch corner, for real. You got to remind us, come on, bring it back the memories of good old C. Webster and good old Terrell Thomas. Good corners that played the game correctly. Got to be on that all-pro level.
Big Ed, if the Giants go straight up, right, usually it would be Paulson Adebo on the left side and either Flott or Banks on the right side. Now, if they go with that standard grouping, Johnston would be the left receiver. So that means he goes against either Banks or Flott. I would tell you physically, Banks matches up better against Johnston than Flott does.
Yeah.
So if you believe the matchup stuff that Shane Bowen has been talking about over the first month of the season, you could see potentially Banks getting more one-on-one chances with Johnston.
What if Adebo, though? Because we have seen him shadow a little bit the first couple of weeks. Like week 1, he did shadow Terry McLaurin for most of the game.
He did.
Not every snap, but a lot.
He did.
And last week we saw the Broncos have Pat Surtain shadow Quentin Johnston. It wouldn't shock me if the Giants had Adebo shadow Quentin Johnston because he basically only lines up on the outside. He's not a slot guy.
Correct.
But the other two receivers, Keenan Allen and Ladd McConkey, both are capable of lining up inside and outside. And they both do that at pretty high rates. And I feel like Cordell Flott and Drew Phillips and Deontay, well, more so Flott and Drew Phillips, match up better against those two than Adebo. I feel like Adebo and Quentin Johnston on the outside and then have Flott and Drew Phillips handle the other two guys depending on obviously who's lined up in the slot and who's lined up outside.
Right. That's the game they play.
And Flott's
you just don't
been
know.
Pretty solid so far this
I
season.
think he has. I'm concerned about Johnston's physicality, though.
Oh, no, I wouldn't want him on Johnston.
Yeah, Banks has the most physicality, and I'm not taking anything away from Adebo, but I might tell Banks, this is your breakout game. Go get Johnston. I might do that.
Johnston's deep routes. With Banks would just worry me a little bit.
Here's what you want to do. You want to beat the crap out of him. Chuck him off those routes.
Well, yeah, for sure. And get pressure on Herbert so they don't have time to let those plays
Banks is
downfield
better
develop.
Suited to do that.
That in that aspect, yes, I agree.
Well, that's why I'm thinking of doing it. Okay, go ahead, Big Ed.
Hey, look, also, right? So I'm thinking of our young man, Mr. Dart. Mr. Dart, if you're listening, which I hope that you are.
He's not. He's
please
at practice.
accept what the defense gives you. Chargers have been playing lights out D-ball. They had just, like you said, Paulie, you're right. That's what I've been seeing from preseason, from the first game, from the very first one, the Hall of Fame game. Man, the Chargers been playing lights out ball.
They're
man.
legit, Big Ed.
I'm going to say, right, I'm simply going to say, take what the defense gives you. If you don't have that deep ball, but you got a wide open tight end over the middle or to the side, please take that.
Yeah.
Take what the defense gives you. Just get first downs. Do the Peyton Manning way. Just get first downs.
Yep.
Keep the drive going. Gives you a better chance to be on the field longer because the defense is going to need your help. That's why we are not where we should be because we haven't been giving a D that help. D been playing real good ball. Like, I'm really, really happy to see Drew Phillips and Cordell Flott really come up and playing way better. That's been, like, the best. So, on that, I hope to see you soon, Paulie. I got to come up there.
All right, Big Ed.
Come to the office.
Stay well.
Thank you, Big Ed. Well, two things. One, last week definitely was a little bit of a struggle for Drew Phillips. You know, he had the two pretty big penalties. So, hopefully this is a bounce-back game for Drew.
You know he's always there. I mean, I felt so bad for him when he gave up the 50-50 ball to Thornton to the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
Unbelievable throw by Mahomes. And Thornton made a terrific grab. I mean, Phillips was on him. I said this the other day, like mustard on a hot dog.
Yeah, there's not much more he could have done.
Except make the play.
Well,
I know.
I was talking more the two penalties, which were kind of backbreaking. But that was one. And then the second thing with Big Ed was saying with, you know, take what the defense is giving you. You know, I mentioned before Dan's one-on-one with Coach. Well, he asked Coach about the coverage that the Chiefs gave the Giants for most of the game last week, which was the split safety look.
Right.
They ran it at 80%, nearly 80%, which is the highest that any team has done that across the NFL this year. And basically Coach Dable said exactly what Big Ed just said. He's like, when they're doing that, trying to take away your deep weapons, your receivers down the field, you have to take what the defense is giving you. You take those short intermediate routes. You got to run the ball well. So just Coach Dable is on the same page as what Big Ed was just saying in terms of if they're trying to take away the deep ball, you know, that's fine. Then you take those, 5-6 yard completions as they come and just methodically work your way down the field.
Here's the bad news. Defensive coordinator J.C. Minter, again, talking to Matt Money Smith, the Chargers play-by-play guy, he said one of the things that they're really happy with him is that he is a big-timer in terms of disguising secondary. They don't blitz very much. In fact, I think they're the second fewest blitzer of all the defenses in the NFL. They're not coming after your quarterback. They're not trying to ruin his day. They're not trying to freak him out and cause him a great deal of anxiety. No, that's not what they do. They're very happy playing back, playing zone, and what they will do is show you all kinds of different looks in the secondary, thinking that you're playing one coverage, and then they play another. That's where their complications come in. Not in the front seven. They come in the back seven, which means it is 10 times more difficult for the quarterback than it is the running back, the tight ends, or the offensive lineman to decipher what's going on. Because the secondary stuff is more on the QB than it is anybody else. Obviously, the receivers have to make adjustments too, but Dart is really going to have to be aware of the mind games that the Chargers are going to play on him.
Yeah, and talking about the Chargers secondary, we haven't even mentioned this guy's name yet, but they have one of the best defensive backs in the entire NFL.
Oh, yeah.
In Derwin James. And Derwin James is sort of that, do a little bit of everything type of guy.
Wild card.
Yeah, he can line up all over the field, has success in just about every aspect that you need a defensive back to have success in. But where he's really, really excelled this year has been in coverage. Mm-hmm. I would think that, he might be lined up against Theo Johnson whatever tight ends on the field for a decent amount of this game, which it's going to be tough sledding then for the tight ends because he has been phenomenal, which I would say, if that's the case and that guy's back there, target the cornerbacks in coverage because they have been playing pretty well. But I'm a lot less worried about, Benjamin St. Juste, who we are familiar with his time when he was back with Washington. A lot more, I feel a lot more comfortable throwing it in his direction or Tarheeb Still than I would want to throw the ball at Derwin James. Because Derwin James is the type of guy that's going to make you pay if you make even the slightest mistake.
Dante Jackson is having a heck of a year.
He's having a good year too, yeah.
And he's been just a guy for most of his career. And now this year he's come out playing great football. We go to German. You are line 2 in New Jersey. Hello, German. That's an interesting name.
How you doing?
Good to talk to you.
How you doing, guys?
Hi.
What's up?
It's a pleasure. Actually, it's a first-time caller. I've been listening to you guys. I drive over the road, so it's really good to hear all the news.
Very cool for you to dial us up.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, but listen, I wanted to talk about a few things. One, it will be middle linebacker. I feel like we don't really have enough depth on that position. Putting Abdul there was really nice, to be honest with you, but I feel like he wasn't 100% there as far as, taking care of the gaps. And another thing I want to say is Jackson Dart. I'm super excited. A lot of people wanted him in, and a lot of people also saying, he's not ready, but I feel like the kid is ready, and just let him learn. I feel like he's going to do good, even though we're playing the Chargers, but I feel like he's going to do well. And I just want to say thank you again, guys. Have a nice day.
Well, thanks for calling, and please try again another time.
Yeah, thank you. So, to your first point, I feel like Abdul played, admirably at off-ball linebacker last week, but it was very clear that he was put there due to all of the injuries that the Giants had. I mean, Micah McFadden obviously is out for a while. Darius Muasau was out with a concussion. Chris Board has been placed on injured reserve. Flanagan Fowles was out. I mean, those are 4 of your top 5 linebackers going into the season on the depth chart. So, I hear what you're saying, and obviously, with all those guys out, it's easy to say, where's the depth at middle linebacker? But they went into the season with depth. It just all of those guys dropped like flies in the first 2 weeks, which is what led to Abdul playing such a big role at that position. Now, I will say
Bozeman off the street, for goodness sakes. They had no choice.
Exactly. But I will say Darius Muasau was a full participant in practice yesterday. It looks like he is trending in the right direction to be able to play this week. I would think that he would probably be the starter next to Bobby Okereke, who, by the way, leads the NFL in tackles through 3 games. So that will certainly help a little bit with the depth. And In addition to that, I believe Flanagan Fowles has been returned to practice.
Yeah.
I think as a limited participant.
Limited.
So
calf.
It remains to be seen if he's been limited both days. It remains to be seen if he'll be cleared. Obviously, if he was also cleared, that would be bringing two of those guys on the depth chart back into the lineup, which I think would certainly help. Even with those guys back, we might still see Abdul line up at sometimes at that off-ball linebacker position.
Sure.
Because he's just so talented, he could literally line up anywhere. But I feel like there's a good chance, assuming Muasau and maybe even Flanagan Fowles as well, assuming they are back, I feel like we're going to see Abdul have more snaps, on the edge or up front like he did the first 2 weeks as opposed to this past week.
Steve in Las Vegas, you're on line 3. Hello.
Hey, what's going on, Paul?
Good to talk to you.
Hey, what's up?
Second time calling in. I spoke to you and John last time, Paul.
Sure.
I just want to call about Jackson Dart. Huge fan. I really like the kid. I think he's going to do great. But do you think that to this point, the Giants developing him, I think we just need to work on the schematics. I just feel like last game with Russell Wilson, they weren't doing screen plays. They didn't get Malik on a screen. I mean, they're just going vertical. How do you think the Giants are going to game plan this week for the Chargers with Jackson Dart, starting his first game? And then also, what do you think about Scadaboo, getting him, more touches as far as screen plays or moving him around?
You've already hit on exactly what I would do, to be honest with you. Given the situation, not only for Jackson Dart playing in his first NFL start, but also given what the Chargers defense is trying to take away from you, it's obvious that the Giants have to be able to run the ball, but they also have to use a lot of quick game for a lot of reasons. Right. One, because you don't want Dart to have to look downfield and to decipher what complications the Chargers secondary is going to throw at him. That's a game that you probably won't win. So why get involved in it? Don't play into their hands. Okay? So go with the quick slants. Go with the wide receiver screen. Go with the tosses, the pitches, some of the RPOs. Again, run the ball. I mean, the little dump-off passes into the flat. No question. Yeah. Get the ball out of Jackson Dart's hands as quickly as you can so that he doesn't have to play mind games against that secondary. Now, part of what the Chargers will then do, they'll say, oh, you want to do that? Okay, some of our guys are going to cheat up now. All right, fine. If they cheat up now, well, then make sure that your guys, your tight ends, your receivers, whoever it is that's going to get those balls, make sure that those guys understand, hey, guess what? Your quarterback needs you today. Run that little 5-yard hitch and make sure you cut it off correctly and you body off the defender and you make the damn play. Okay? Because the kid needs you. If you can't get those short, quick throw games going and those guys can't do what they have to do to get the ball, they're going to leave this poor rookie in deep, deep water.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of just because it's a rookie quarterback making his first start, a lot of very quick passes, like just get the ball into your playmaker's hands. I mean, Malik Neighbors is one of the top offensive weapons, period, in the NFL. Just get the ball in his hands and let him go to work. We've seen, going back to last year, what he could do with just a simple little slant route. He could take it 70 yards to the house and break a few tackles, outrun everyone. So I feel like we are, especially because, again, this Chargers defense is very talented and they have a very good defensive play caller. It's going to be a lot of that. Just get the ball into your guys' hands. And Scadaboo is definitely going to play a role in that. I mean, we saw it last week. He was the team's leading receiver. He had 6 catches for 60 yards last week. I don't know if he's going to replicate those numbers receiving again, but I think he's definitely going to play a big role in the passing game as well.
Steve, I'll let you finish in a minute. Yeah. Off of Scadaboo, I read an item that Scadaboo and Barkley, the only rookie running backs for the Giants in the last 40 years that had at least 60 yards rushing and 60 yards receiving in the same game.
The 8th rookie in franchise history to do it.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
I like the kid. I think Scadaboo is going to bring a jolt to this offense. The kid doesn't like to go down. He takes a few hits and he keeps
He's
moving.
Tough.
I think if we can use him, he's like Mike Allstott. If we can use him in the right way, he's going to be phenomenal. And I think with Scadaboo and with Dart developing together because this is the future of our franchise here. We're going to see a lot of exciting things to come.
No question.
So,
Steve, appreciate the call.
all right, yeah, you guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Steve.
Thank you very much.
I don't know if you saw this, and I know you're not the biggest PFF fan, and I understand. And especially when it comes to their grades, it's somewhat arbitrary.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to know, did you know that through 3 games, PFF has Cam Scadaboo as the number 1 ranked running back in the NFL?
Do they really?
Number 1. Not too shabby. It doesn't mean a whole lot, but it doesn't mean nothing either.
I was just going to say, that's not even going to get me an ice cream at the corner store.
No. Look, obviously it doesn't mean a whole lot, but it clearly means he's playing good football if they have him ranked number 1 in the NFL at the position. That's all I'm saying.
Now, I will say this. There are 2 other items, Steve, to the Giants' offensive playbook that I would consider using that might help out Jackson Dart a little bit. Number 1, I would consider, if you're going to give him 2 or 3 plays in a row, I would consider going hurry up. Because that might get the Chargers into a little bit of dismay, right? Because they're very interested in doing all this coverage stuff in the back end of trying to confuse the QB. Well, what if you hurry up? You give Jackson 2 or 3 plays in a row and say, okay, this is what we're doing. Just concentrate on making the execution correctly. Bang, 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 bang. Don't give the Chargers time to sub out. Don't give well, I know you have to give them an opportunity if you sub. I understand that. But if you don't give them time. Hit them quick, hit them quick before they have time to set up and start their disguises going in the background, in the depth of the secondary. The other thing that I would consider doing strategically, more motion. Because as we all know, when you motion, pre-snap motion on offense, the defense has to react, and it's supposed to help the quarterback identify what the defense is going to do against you. Now, the Chargers are going to try to play a lot of mind games. So you may not always get the truth when you see what they're doing, especially in that they have a variety of zone coverages that they can use and brackets that they can use. So it may just help you identify zone to man, and it won't give you every detail. It's not going to unveil whatever's totally behind the curtain, but it could provide some additional hints to Dart as to what he can expect when he snaps that football. So those are the philosophical ways that I would approach the offensive playbook.
Yeah, I think the Chargers are definitely going to try to, disguise their looks on defense to confuse Jackson, as you said. And a great way to try to remedy that, which you just mentioned is the first time we mentioned this, is to play with tempo. I mean, we haven't touched on that yet up to this point of the show.
Dart likes that.
He does like it. I was going to say, we saw it in the preseason. Like, I think there's a very strong chance that, could be the first drive, first drive in the third quarter, every drive. Like, the Giants are going to play with tempo on offense. As long as Jackson Dart is able to help move this offense down the field, I have a strong feeling, and I'm not going out, I feel like on a limb saying this, that the Giants are going to play with tempo, and that's going to, at least somewhat help remedy those defensive disguises that Jesse Minter is going to try to throw at Jackson, because the defense is kind of be playing on its heels, which is obviously would be great if we could have the Chargers defense playing on their heels all game.
Kay from Patterson, you're on line 1 on Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi.
What's going on?
Hey, guys. How you doing, man?
All right. How are you?
How are you?
Yeah. I'm good, man. I actually met you at summer camp, man. I asked you a crazy question. I asked who Joe Malone was. He looked at me like I was crazy. But I just wanted to
That's
say... That's
not my part of the department store, okay?
Yeah. No, I'm pumped up about this game, man. I think that the young kid is going to do well. I'm for the benching, although I did want to see Russell one more game. It's okay. I think that we'll move the offense very well. I know the Chargers are a good team, but I think that we'll do good. I just want to say go Giants. I'm pumped up. Go Big Blue.
All right. Well, thanks for the call.
Thank you. Appreciate the call.
And always nice to see the fans at training camp every summer. So thanks for stopping by with that. A couple things to remind folks of. We have a few minutes left if you want to get on the line, 201-939-4513. Is there a YouTube comment that you wanted to address before we move on?
No, not right now.
Okay. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock on Sunday with the Chargers coming in. Remember, the pregame on WFAN radio starts at 11. And then afterwards, there's the postgame on WFAN as well as the postgame show live on MSG television network as well. Like I said, folks, it's also the Women's Giants Tailgate Day. So I don't know if you want to, maybe some of you ladies out there want to drag your significant others out to the parking lot a little early, but maybe you can enjoy the tailgate while they sit back and have their own whatever it is that they're going to cook on the grill or whatever, and then meet up with you when you get into the game. So don't forget, that's also available. Go to Giants.com for that women's ticket tailgate information. Phil in North Carolina, you're next on the show. Hello.
Yeah, hi, Paul and Matt.
Hi.
I just wanted to follow up because, Paul, I know you love the PFF stuff. But
about as much as I enjoy castor oil, to be honest with you. Go ahead.
Yeah. If you heard one of John's huddles, I think it was in John's huddle, he said that they talked to Tom Coughlin quite a bit in the beginning when they were starting to get some of his evaluation tools on some of these players, and they integrated that and other coaches into the grading system. So I think it's more of a handy tool than you might.
Phil, I hate to burst your bubble, but there's a lot more to that story than you can imagine, and I have reasons why I feel like I do. But I appreciate your input. Please go ahead. Anything else?
Yeah. So my other part is I wanted to call early in the season. It feels like we're not being physical enough on the line of scrimmage, defensively and offensively. And until that we ratchet that up to a level that is consistent with the opposing team, we're going to always be subjected to these games like the Dallas game where we're going to be on the short end of the stick. And so my question revolving around that is, I know there's a heavy emphasis on the getting good leaders at each of the position groups, but I always feel you need nasty guys, a nasty guy in each of these position groups. What do you feel about that?
Well, I've always said, and Lawrence Taylor used to talk about getting after them like wild dogs, right? I've always felt that you had to have a couple guys with real sharp teeth, kind of foaming at the mouth kind of guys on your defense. I've always believed that. I mean, the fact remains, though, Dexter Lawrence is a real mean, nasty guy in those trenches when he gets out there on Sunday.
Yep.
Okay, they got one. Brian Burns plays with a tremendous amount of passion and force when he's out there. So they certainly have one of those guys there. Now, I will say this. I don't think anyone in the secondary has the edge that Antrell Roll brought to this team years ago. I will agree with you there. I don't think anybody is quite as sharp as Antrell was, because he was like a razor blade. But I think they got a couple guys in that starting lineup for sure.
Another guy who I know he's not considered one of the top key guys necessarily, but Roy Robertson Harris, I think he definitely plays with some edge when he gets on the field.
Yeah,
he
I think
has
so too.
some nastiness to his game. I think we've seen it a little bit the first 3 weeks.
So I appreciate the thought, though. I mean, philosophically, You're right. I think you have to have a couple of them for sure.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
All right. Be good.
Thank you, Phil. And just about the PFF thing, as I prefaced it before, I don't think you should make an argument solely based on what the PFF grades are. Certainly not. But I do think that there is some, it can assist you with things. I don't think it's like completely useless, which I feel like you might kind of feel like that. I think it has helped to as supportive evidence for an argument you want to make, but it can't be your whole argument. Is how I think of it.
We have time real quick for one more call. Mike in Virginia, you're on line 2.
Hey, how y'all doing today? Thanks
Hi.
for taking my call.
What's up, Mike?
I'm always going to stay a Giants fan, but I'm honestly disappointed in the team.
Sure.
I know we have to make the moves. I know we got to make the changes, but it just didn't seem like this was set up for Russell to be successful. They were bracketing neighbors, and you got a safety over top, you got a corner in front of him, and you got a linebacker on his inside, and they were running comeback routes. So there's nowhere for him to throw the ball, but people want to blame Russell. Now, granted, yes, we know that he wants to get out of the pocket sometimes when the pressure's on, but it just didn't seem like the play calling was there for Russell to be successful. Like we can't throw a slant with Russell. We can't throw bubble screens with Russell. We can't move the pocket. We can't put people in motion to get people open. It just seems like it was more of they're not going to change the offense to help Russell be Russell. You're going to do what we're telling you to do, and that's what I didn't like. I don't like the fact that we're not using our people. It seems like it's just been a constant. We don't use our people correctly.
Mike, I think the problem there, and I'll let you finish in just a moment, the problem there is, look how explosive the offense was against Dallas.
Yes.
They played 3 games, right? They played 3 games. In one game, everything on offense was clicking. In the other 2 games, it wasn't. And by the way, I'm not going to be one to blame Russell Wilson either. I think you're being very wise and very you're taking things well into context, because there were many a times, and I know that there were also some times where guys could have been hit, but there were also many times where he had nowhere to throw and there was nobody open. Okay? A lot of times folks ignore that. They'll see the 3 or 4 plays where he could have hit an open guy and said, that's terrible. He's missing open guys all the time. No, even Tom Brady missed open guys over the course of his career. It happens every week to every quarterback. Make no mistake about it. No quarterback comes out of a game on Sunday and did not have a missed open target at some point during the 4 quarters of the game. It happens. That's life, folks, in the NFL. So I agree with you. I think Wilson's taken too much of the brunt of the blame from people outside the building.
It's certainly not. It certainly does not all fall on Russ's shoulders by any means. I 100% agree with you on that. But you just mentioned the Giants have had 3 games, one of which the offense was really clicking. I do think you have to keep in mind that game was against perhaps the worst defense in the NFL.
They look like that right now.
Or one of the worst defenses who's been hit.
Had to throw the ball.
He did.
Still had to drop those passes.
Absolutely.
100%. And he took advantage of that poor defense and looked amazing out there. But, just this past weekend, that same Cowboys defense made Caleb Williams look like John Elway. And he hasn't had the greatest start to his career, Caleb Williams, but he looked amazing. So, again, it's not all Russ's fault. It's just the 2 games, the 2 matchups against what would be considered tough defenses. Well, I think Washington's defense is middle of the pack, but it obviously played tough in that Week 1 game. Chiefs' defense is very talented. But as we said before, it did seem like at times, it's not all Russ's fault, but at times he was trying to just force the ball downfield when it just simply was not there. And you have to take those, 3, 4, 5 yard completions and methodically work down the field instead of just trying to throw the deep ball every other play.
Mike, I'm going to leave you with this. Kurt Warner was just on, I think it was with ESPN the other day. And he goes, you know what? I understand this move. I could see it. There's logic behind it. But this doesn't say a lot about Russ. This is more about the Giants are really impressed with Jackson Dart. The coach really wants to get him in there. And this is more about giving this young kid an early opportunity to continue his growth more than it is about Russell Wilson failing to do the job. And I agree with Kurt Warner 1,000%.
Right.
Okay?
No, I understand that. Also, the defense-wise, we got to do better. We really have to do better.
It's game 4. Time to get your sea legs, defense.
Pressure.
It's time.
You're bringing pressure, but you have your corners playing 15 yards off. It's just mismatched. To me, it just seems like it's just been a consistent bad coaching situation.
Appreciate
When
the call, my
Wick was here
man.
and Dable, we were working well. I don't get it.
I know. I understand. We got to run. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Big Blue Kickoff Live, part of the Giants podcast platforms everywhere and at Giants.com/podcasts. It is presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. And as always, coming to you from the Giants podcast studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Kickoff Sunday, 1 o'clock. The LA Chargers come to MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Football Giants. From Matt Citak, I'm Paul Dottino. We'll see you next time.